What is going on, everybody? We are officially at the midway point of the NFL season. Week 9. After this week, we will officially be at the halfway point. We will have officially played half the games for this regular season. Obviously, I think time goes by. That's the biggest story you can take away. I mean, it's already Halloween, and tomorrow morning we'll wake up November 1st. We'll be ready to hear all. I'm not going to do it. But, anyways, we're getting to that point, man. We're getting to that point. Officially midway season. Trade deadline just passed. I'll just go ahead and say I would have liked to see us add Montez Sweat. I would have liked to see us add Chase Young or even a guy like Josh Hutch. But we didn't. And guess what? There's nothing we can do about it. But with that being said, week 9. We'll say another good week of games. Some tough games to play because there are every week. But without further ado, let's just get right into it all. Last week went 12-4. Give it up for myself. Pretty damn good week. 78-44 overall record. Lock of the week 6-2. Upset of the week 3-5. Do have some teams on bye this week. Well, every team was playing last week. This week, that isn't the case. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who are a very quiet, it feels like 6-2, no doubt in the driver's seat in the AFC South. One of the better teams, I think maybe you can say tied for the best record in the AFC. I think they are with Miami and Kansas City. The Denver Broncos coming off, obviously, I think maybe the biggest one for them since Super Bowl 50, you can say. Beating Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for the first time in Mahomes' career, beating them in Denver. The Detroit Lions, very hot start to the season, 6-2. And the San Francisco 49ers. They have been stagnating, losing 3 straight, but they did just trade for Chase Young here today at the trade deadline. They look to get back on track. They look to the bye week to do so. So getting right into it. Thursday night football. The Tennessee Titans. Will Levis, 4 touchdowns. Happened against my Falcons. Very disappointed in the secondary for that. But as I said, every team has a game like that. But the fact you made Will Levis look like that, on one hand you can say it's embarrassing, but on another hand, you got to recognize Will Levis for it. Going into Pittsburgh, Thursday night short week to take on the Steelers. This feels like a nasty, ugly ball game, however you chop it up. This feels like a game where it's going to be ground and pound. It's going to be one of those Thursday night shit shows, I guess you can say. And it's a game you would expect in Heinz Field the Steelers could win, and they very well probably should win this game. However, it feels like Tennessee is trying to salvage at least somewhat this season. And I feel this is going to be a very ugly ball game, as I said. But I'm going to go ahead and actually say this is my upset of the week. I'm going to pick the Tennessee Titans. I think you're going to see Will Levis have another stellar performance. Obviously not 4 touchdowns. But you're going to, I think, see him do enough to where they are able to pick up the win here. I think this could be a very bad night for Pittsburgh's offense. This could be the icing on the cake for Matt Canada. But I'll go ahead and give this one to Tennessee, actually. 16-9, ugly ball game. But I'll give this to the Titans. All right. Back to the Sunday morning action, this time over in Germany. The Miami Dolphins, 6-2, Kansas City Chiefs, 6-2. A battle for the best record in the AFC, and it's not even in the United States. Some might say de facto AFC championship. I wouldn't go that far, but this should be a good game. Chiefs are coming off that, it's shocking loss to Denver. Miami, they're 6-2. They're tearing it up with Tyreek Hill, but man, they have not beaten a credible opponent yet. And I feel like this is a game they very well could actually win. But Kansas City, it's hard to see them dropping 2 straight games. I think it could happen, but this just feels like a game the Chiefs are going to pull away with. Going to see a lot of offense here, I think. But I think ultimately Mahomes, he's going to put Kansas City on his back like he always does, and he's going to end up carrying them to this win here. Travis Kelce. I don't know if Taylor Swift has a passport to Germany or not, but one way or another, I think this is a game Patrick Mahomes. He comes out and he has that Patrick Mahomes showing, and the Chiefs end up winning. All right. And into the 1 o'clock window. Vikings and Falcons in the Benz. Back in the Benz, finally. Back at home. I'll be at the game. And I'm going to talk a whole lot about this in preview and predictions. I might even do some other things too. We will see who our starter is tomorrow is it going to be Desmond Ridder or will it be Taylor Heineke? I think it's going to be Ridder because I have said Arthur Smith has co-signed his name to Desmond Ridder. Minnesota, it's going to be the rookie from BYU, Jaron Hall. They did trade for Joshua Dobbs today, but he will not be starting Sunday. They still got to get him a claim to the system. Understandable. I will say this, though. I think regardless of how this offense does, this is a game the defense has to show up in. This is a prime bounce back opportunity for my defense. And you got to take it here. And I think we will. I think we're going to get this win here. We ain't losing 2 straight in the Benz. We better not. We better not lose 2 straight in the Benz, and I don't think we will. I feel like this is going to be a big Bijan Robinson game. And I also feel like you might honestly see one of the better showings from the Falcons offense all season, regardless of who's out there at quarterback. It just feels like that game. Defense obviously bounces back. I'll talk about it more on Friday, but right now, obviously going with the Falcons to win. We got to win this game and get back over 500. All right. The Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. This, I think, feels like, obviously, Chicago just made the big Montez Sweat trade. And I think, really, I don't get the whole purpose behind that. Not just because the Falcons, they really fucked us over, but I just really don't understand, where Chicago is going other than maybe they do feel they can sacrifice that draft pick. And you do have cap space, but still. It feels like just a game where, the Tyson Badgett, it was a nice story for 1 week. It's hard to see him going into the Superdome and beating the Saints. For all intents and purposes, the Saints, they did kind of get back on track last week in Indianapolis. I hate saying that, but it is true. I think the Saints offense might continue to roll here. I'm going to go ahead, give this one to the Saints. I just think this could be another day where their offense ends up showing up and Chicago's going to struggle in that environment. This game, kind of a crap game, crap bowl, however you want to put it. The Rams, you can say yes with how that 7th seed in the NFC, which I might shed a little more insight on my thoughts on it at a later time. They could still get back in it. Green Bay, they started off 2-1, lost 4 straight. They are hurting without Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. It does not look like that Jordan Love is going to be able to continue and go into the category those two are in. However, with that being said, this is in Green Bay. I don't know what the weather is going to be like. It's November, though. I can feel it right now. It's a little cold down here in the A. I can only imagine what it's like up there in Green Bay. Heck, for all I know, it might be 80 degrees. But this just feels like a game where, man, it feels like the Packs are going to find a way to pull this one out. Not much of an interesting ball game, but it feels like the Rams are really just kind of stuck in that whatever category. And teams stuck in that whatever category tend to lose games, they definitely should win. And that just adds to more of the embarrassment. So I'm going to go ahead and say Green Bay's actually going to win this one. All right. The Washington Commanders, who were big sellers today, going to New England, facing the Patriots. Feels like another crap game. It feels like everything about this game is going to be weird. You're going to get a lot of weird sequences. Washington, it definitely feels like is on their way down, even with how great Sam Howell has looked. Obviously, trading away those pieces on defense. This feels like a game New England wins. I mean, I'll say it was really hard to pick a lock of the week this week because it does feel like a lot of these games could go either way. But if I'm most confident in a pick, it probably would be this one. I mean, just look at the score I picked, 20-5. I think that this is going to be a weird game all around, but ultimately the Patriots will come away and win it. Now this is a good one. Best game of the early window. 5-2 Seattle at 6-2 Baltimore. Shout out to my guy Brandon Rogers. He will be in M&T Bank Stadium on Sunday, I believe. I think it's going to be a pretty damn good game. Can't lie. This is going to be a good game. Baltimore, that's another team. Man, I'm forgetting about Baltimore. There's 4 teams right now, I want to say, in the AFC, at least 4 with a 6-2 record. Baltimore being one of them. A quiet 6-2. Not a lot of people are talking about them. But they're at home facing a tough Seattle team who just acquired Leonard Williams. They feel that right now, them leading the NFC West, they feel they can go make a run at it this year deep into the playoffs in a wide open NFC, really outside of the Eagles, and you would still maybe put the 49ers in there. I don't know, though. That being said, this just feels like that game. You got to go with the home team, though, and that's what I'm going to do here. Got to go with the Ravens. Feels like that defense is probably going to be the story here for them. So I'll go ahead and say Baltimore picks up the win off the back of their defense, getting their 7th win of the season. Very quiet 7-2, but I think it's definitely something. I think it's time more people, especially if Lamar can stay healthy and get better. This Baltimore team could be one to look out for potentially. Next game, battle of 2, 3, and 4 teams. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to Houston to take on the Texans. Tampa Bay, NFC South Division, where they're only a half game back. They are only a half game back. 3-4 definitely could still be in it in the NFC. Houston, obviously, tough loss to Carolina coming off the bye last week. Off the heels of a pretty impressive start to the season. It feels like at home, this is an opportunity where CJ Stroud is going to pick back up and get back into rhythm with those receivers, get back in a rhythm with a Nico Collins, a Tank Dell, all those guys in Houston. And it feels like a game that the Texans are going to pull away with and win. And I think this is probably a game Houston, they look to get back on track as well. Something I saw that's interesting. Outside of the Patriots, every single team in the AFC is within 3 games of each other. That's a very interesting stat. So yeah, I'll go ahead and say I think the Texans bounce back and get a win here. 1-7 Arizona, 4-3 Cleveland. Feels like a crappy game all around. Really does. I don't know if Deshaun Watson plays. Arizona has traded Josh Dobbs. Clayton Tune, they're saying, is going to start this game, the rookie. Feels like it feels like a vintage Cleveland Browns game. It feels like that defense will carry them. They just traded Donovan Peoples-Jones. Probably lackluster quarterback play, but they do enough to win based off the heels of their defense. So I'm going to go ahead, get this one to Cleveland. Moving into the 4 o'clock window. Carolina getting their first win last week. Is it the start of maybe a little winning streak. Maybe they got 3-5. The 3-5 Colts coming into town. Frank Reich's former team. This definitely feels like a game that Carolina can win. It does. It feels like a game maybe even they should win. Gaining a little momentum, gaining a little confidence. It feels like they could be able to come out and win this game. But right now, this also feels like a game. It feels like Indianapolis is going to look to, really at this point, they're looking to salvage the season more than anything. After Anthony Richardson went down, and Minshew is an all right option, but he's not the most special option in the world. But it feels like this is just a game the Colts are going to end up coming away with. And Carolina is going to continue to go through those growing pains. First year with Frank Reich and Bryce Young. Right now, going to go ahead. I'm going to pick Indy here this week to go into Charlotte and beat the Panthers. Talking about this game here, 2-6 Giants, 3-5 Raiders. Another crap fest if you really want to talk about it. Man, it feels like both these teams lackluster, uncomfortable to watch at times. Daniel Jones will be back for the Giants this week. The Raiders, you don't know what they're doing. Devontae Adams clearly is frustrated. That offense is abysmal. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to pick the Giants. It feels like, they're going to end up getting another win here just for pride. I mean, both these teams, I think you can already kind of say just playing for pride, but it feels like the Raiders are definitely going down the tank. And the Giants are already, but Daniel Jones coming back, it feels like they'll be able to do enough to win against a bad Raiders team. This is a game that definitely national media, they will have their nose up on. The 5-2 Cowboys, 7-1 Eagles, NFC showdown in South Philly, America's game of the week. This is just one where I think it comes down to who's at home. Hostile environment, Philadelphia. Feels like the Cowboys are going to come in here, obviously coming off the heels of that big win versus the Rams. And they might come in hungover a little bit, and they're going to struggle at times. This feels like a game where the Cowboys offense could look pretty damn abysmal. So that's where I think this is going to end up. I think the Eagles going to get a win. Going to be a close game probably throughout, but feels like ultimately Philadelphia gets the win, goes to 8-1 on the year, beating the Cowboys and Lincoln Financial Field. Sunday Night Football. Pretty good Sunday night game. Obviously, there's a big story around it with Damar Hamlin. Bills going back to Cincinnati to play the game that should have been played January 2nd this year. Was being played before. We all know what happened with Damar Hamlin. There's going to be a big story made out of it. But do not let that distract you from the fact that obviously very glad to see Damar Hamlin is even able to, you can talk about him playing football. But these are two very good teams. Two teams in the AFC that, have kind of been up and down to this point, especially Cincinnati starting off 1-3. They have won 3 straight. Back at home in the jungle on Sunday night. They got Buffalo coming into town. It's going to be a good game. The game it should have been last year. But I got to ride with the home team here. I think you're going to kind of see that the Bengals sort of have the Bills' number. They beat them in the divisional round. I'm going to go ahead and say Cincinnati is getting back on track. They're going to win here. I think this is going to be a great game. 27-24. Battle of two great quarterbacks that the home team's going to ultimately come away with. Monday Night Football. The 3-4 LA Chargers versus the New York Jets. The Jets have won 3 straight games. We thought they were done, and they were out of it. But, man, they've done enough to win these games. And they find themselves, once again, they're another team. They are right there. You win on Monday night probably firmly cements them as a team that can contend for a wild card. But the Chargers, The Chargers feel like a team that obviously should be better than their record is. It feels like they're going to come in Monday night, and they really have to come in and fight, to get back where they should be. And this feels like a game that the Chargers ultimately will win. 24-17. It just feels like that type of game. I don't know why it's not showing, but 24-17. I think the Chargers should win. But with that being said, I don't know why that why it wasn't showing the score. But 24-17, I think the Chargers win, go to 4-4. Jets drop to 4-4. But with that being said, officially through the midway point of the season, man. We'll see what happens. And yeah, got another great week of games ahead. And I'll see you guys definitely on Friday, preview and predictions. Maybe one time before that. Till then, guys, take it easy. See you in the next one.